Hello, everyone. My name is Victor Monga. I am Network and Security TAM. Today, I have Ronak Patel with me. He is a senior consultant with NSPU. We want to talk about NSX V to NSX T migration options, and we want to show you a demo how to use it using HCX. So why don't we start with a quick introduction, Ronak?
Hey, thanks, Victor. Myself, Ronak Patel. I'm a senior consultant working with VMware. My area of expertise is NSX V2T migration, NSX T, HCX. Today, I will be presenting you the migration option from V to T using HCX. There are total three type of approach for the migration from NSX V to T. As you can see, the very first type of approach is called as a coexistent approach. So in the coexisting approach, we have old NSX V environment which is running here. We will be deploying the newer NSX T environment on the newer hardware, and both of these environments will be operating parallelly here, in which we can start provisioning the newer workload on the newer NSX T deployment. Till the time we are 100% ready with the newer environment, we can run both the workload or both the environment parallel. Both the VM, the old environment with NSX V and NSX T are still running here. Once we are ready with all the thing in NSX T, we can decom the old environment. The second environment here is the second option here is lift and shift option. So in the lift and shift option, it is similar to what we did in the coexistent environment. We will be having our old NSX V running on the older hardware. We will be deploying our NSX T on the newer hardware. Once we deploy NSX T, we are going to create a layer 2 bridge, which means we are just extending the layer 2 between the NSX V and NSX T. We can use either layer 2 bridge from NSX, or we can use HCX for this type of deployment. Once we do the layer 2 extension, we are going to use the same IP address to extend to the NSX T environment. We are going to move the VM, the workload, and here the VM are more like your PAT VM, which like a critical server, or some of the server which is not which you cannot put downtime. So we will be moving those VM with the same IP address to the newer NSX T environment. And once all of the VMs are backend from the NSX V environment, we can decom this environment and we can have everything running here on NSX T environment. So that's called as lift and shift option. And this is more feasible for a PAT type of workload where you cannot have downtime for your critical workload. And there is another option, which is option number 3, which is called as migration using migration coordinator. So this one is like a fully automated option, and this one in this option, with this option, the NSX will be doing the migration, and this will be fully automated using the same hardware, which means you are not going to have any other environment of NSX T. You are just going to use the same hardware, just uninstalling your NSX V and just installing the newer version of NSX T. And this one will be fully automated, configured by NSX migration coordinator. And also the VM, once your NSX T is ready, the VM will be migrated from, moved from NSX V to NSX T here, and they will be working here.
Walk us through a little bit about the vCenter situation with all three options. What happens to my current vCenter? Do I need a new vCenter? So just walk us through about my vSphere infrastructure and compare with when I'm doing these migration for 3 options.
If you go with migrate everything, so the vCenter here is going to remain same, because you are just going to move your V to T, and the vCenter here is not going to change here. But if you go with this very first option, which is called as coexistent, here you will be having your separate environment, like your vCenter will be separate here. And as you are provisioning everything on your newer NSX T environment with the newer vCenter and the VM, so this one will need a separate vCenter. Also, when you go with your lift and shift option, in that one also you will have separate vCenter here, because this one NSX V will be currently connected to your older vCenter, and your NSX T will be connecting to your newer. Also here in coexisting one, you do have option where you can use the same vCenter, which means, let's say you have cluster. There is one cluster which can be with NSX V, and then another cluster can be with NSX T deployed, which means you have one vCenter here, and you can have a separate cluster of the host, which is currently prepared with NSX V and NSX. So as I discussed, when you go with the coexistence and lift and shift method, you will need like a newer hardware. So in that one, you don't need that newer hardware. So let's say if you cannot have a newer hardware, then I think migration coordinator will be the best option for you. For coexistence, as there is no outage, we are not moving anything to the newer VM or older VM, which will impact anything in the future. So most the time you don't see any outage during the coexistence. While lift and shift type, you are just doing like a V motion from your old environment to the newer environment. So you might see like a 1 or 2 ping drop depending on the V motion. And so as you can see in my diagram here, like currently we have existing NSX V environment where we have 2 ESD in active deployment. We have DLR and we have some of the VM, which is like a web logical switch, app logical switch, and database logical switch. And these are the IP address and these are the VM connected here. And during my lab, I'm going to deploy my greenfield NSX with like very basic configuration. Also, I will be using HCX, so I will be deploying HCX between the NSX T and NSX V side, and I will be doing like a side pairing, interconnect, and network extension. So just to give you like a little bit of background with HCX, what is HCX? So HCX is like a hybrid cloud interconnect, which can be helped to like to migrate workload between like old environment to the newer environment or between old side to newer side. So ultimately, it's like a migration tool which you can use to migrate your VM, and you have different migration options with HCX like a vMotion migration, bulk migration, or you can have like a replication assistant vMotion type of migration. And all of those migration, like you can have option to use like a live migration or zero downtime migration with HCX. So let's start the very first step. So as I mentioned you that whenever we are doing like a lift and shift, we will have to have like a 2 environment running in parallel. So we already have NSX V here, which is our existing environment. We are going to deploy the NSX T environment here in the greenfield. So as you can see here, the very basic installation of NSX T is done here. The tier 0 is similar to ESD in NSX V. Tier 1 is similar to the DLR in NSX T. So I just have my tier 0, which is active configure and connected to the top of that switch, and the BGP and everything is up. And my tier 1 is directly connected to the tier 0. Currently, I don't have any segment or anything connected to the tier 1. But if you want to have anything here, you can definitely connect here to the tier 1. No issue at all. You can have some of the segment connected to the tier 1 and they can function as it is. So the very first step is to deploy NSX in the greenfield deployment. Once you have NSX deployed, you can go with the next step, which will be deploying the HCX. So the next step 2 will be my deploying the HCX. So as you know, once you start HCX deployment, HCX will very first thing it will do is like it's going to create a side pairing between your like your NSX T vCenter and your NSX V vCenter. So it will create a side pairing. Once it creates side pairing, it's going to create a service mesh, which is going to deploy these 2 appliances, which is HCX interconnect and HCX network extension. So HCX interconnect appliance will use to form a vMotion tunnel extension between your old and new data center. And there is a network extension appliance, which will also create a layer 2 tunnel between the, which like it will be used to create a L2 VPN type of tunnel between the source and target side. And this one will be used to extend the network. So once we deployed our HCX in the step number 2, the next step we want to go is like step number 3. And in this step number 3, we are going to extend the layer 2 network from NSX V to NSX T. So this step will be automated using HCX network extension, and all the network which we want to extend from NSX V to NSX T will be extended here. As you can see here, my NSX T environment is now being extended with this logical segment called as web, app, and DB. And as you see, there is a L2E at the beginning of each network, which means like the layer 2 extension is being used by HCX and it's been extended. And you can see the same IP address subnet has been extended here. The one thing here just to notice is that currently all of this logical segment which is extended to the T is not connected here to the tier 1, which means it's already in the disconnected approach. And whatever the traffic, so the next step now is to move the VM. So the step number 4 is to migrate the VM from NSX V to NSX T environment here. So as you can see, I will be migrating my VM from the logical switch, web logical switch, to the NSX T web logical switch, app logical switch, and database logical switch to the all of that is NSX T. So as you can see, whenever I'm doing my VM migration, all of the VM are using same IP address in the NSX, and that is the reason you don't see any downtime during this migration. Now VM are moved to NSX environment here, but one thing you just to remember here, VM are moved to the NSX environment, but all the routing for ingress and egress traffic is still going by NSX V edge, and that is the reason all the traffic will move through the DLR only here. So all the traffic which is either ingress or egress to the VM, which is sitting on the NSX network, are still going to the NSX V DLR here. So that is one thing we will have to make sure, because this one will be still here until and unless we will do the network extension here. So our next step is to do network or gateway failover from NSX V side to NSX T side. So what it's going to do is like we are going to move all the gateway from our V side to T side. So as you can see, our gateway has been moved here. Once the gateway is moved, all of the logical switch which was disconnected here, now it is connected here to the tier 1, and then all the layer 2 extension will be dissolved, which means now only this logical switch which is on NSX now become active, the gateway become active, and all of your traffic will now start egress and egress via NSX network here. So as you can see, all of your traffic now will be start communicating via this particular NSX network. So as you can see, it's going via NSX tier 0 for all the VM. And now we have moved all of our VM successfully to the NSX environment. So now we have just option to decom NSX environment once all of the VMs are moved successfully to the NSX environment. Also, just wanted to let you know one thing. So whenever we are doing unextending the network in HCX, we want to make sure that we select this option, which is called as connect cloud network to cloud edge gateway after unextending, which means this will connect your gateway, which will move your gateway from V to T environment using the same gateway IP, and then it will unextend your network, which I just showed you in my diagram. Also, I wanted to show you like I did this one in my lab environment, and as you can see, I have continuous ping going on to my VM. So once my VM, I have continuous ping going on to my VM. So during the failover, I see there is a 57 millisecond response time when the network failover happens. But overall, if you see the trace route, before the NSX V, it was using this 192.168.55.2 network, which was NSX T hop on the DLR. After the migration to the T network, now I'm just seeing the 4 hop, and now my traffic is directly going to the NSX T environment. So I fail over like from NSX V to NSX T environment without any ping drop. And also after the migration, my network is egress and ingress via NSX T environment from NSX V to NSX T using HCX. So let's start with my demo. So as you can see on my screen, I have 2 vCenter, one in region A, and there is another vCenter in region B. I have like a workload called as the web CDA web 01, web 02, web 03. Currently on my vCenter A or NSX V, while I have few workload which I have already migrated to the NSX V workload on vCenter 2. So as you can see, this is app 01 and DB02 is already on the vCenter 2, which is migrated. And web 01 and web 02 are still on NSX V network. So I can show you the NSX V environment here. So it's very basic NSX V deployment here. I have NSX V here. I have just like one edge and one DLR configured here. And then I have logical switch where I have like web logical switch currently has 3 VM here. So you can see there is like web 01, web 0. So this one, just ignore this one for now because this is like a HCX network extension port which is created when you extend your network. So I already have this network extension, so this one is created. But there is 2 web 01 and web 02 are currently the VM sitting on this logical switch. I don't have any VM on this web or app or DB right now here in NSX. I have this one. This is just like a network extension port here, just showing here. But other than that, there is no VM here. Let's look at NSX environment here. So my NSX environment here is a tier 0 here. which is like a tenant one router, which is already configured and the BGP and everything is already up. As you can see, there is a BGP process here. And if you look at the BGP state, it will show that the status is established here. So that's my BGP configuration here. So I have my all the extended segment from NSX from HCX, which is starting with L2E, which is F segment. So, and these are the IP address, which is like a gateway here. Currently, it is being used, and it is the same one which is currently used as used for NSX V. But I wanted to show you one thing here. Like if I go to the segment here, and let me select the one which is currently extended here segment. So if I look here, so if you see, the admin state is currently up here, but the connectivity state is currently off, which I was showing you in the demo, in the diagram, that this segment will not be connected here. Like it will be just extended from the NSX, so it will not be connected to the NSX gateway here. This will be connected once we migrate here. So if you look at the database segment here, it is already migrated here. So that's the reason it is showing you connectivity as on here. So, and let me show my HCX. So in my HCX, you can see there is a side pairing between my HCX connector to the cloud, which is my region A to region B. My interconnect appliance is all green here. As you can see, all of these are green, which means it's good. If you look at appliance, I have two appliances. One is network extension, and there is another called the interact appliance. And you can see the tunnel status is showing up, which is good here. And if you expand here, it will show you like how the tunnel has been created between these appliances. So HCX is also good here. And so my step 2 is already completed here. Now let's do the migration. So for migration, what we can do the migration from HCX. We can go to the migrate in the HCX, and we can just select like the VM which we want to migrate here. So as this is my lab environment, you will see there is a legacy, the web VM01 and web VM02 for the migration. So as you can see, these are my two VM. I will select them. For the migration, I will just click add, and then I will select the destination compute. So this one is my destination, and let's say I want them to be on my ESXS01. I will select the ESXS01. I will select the storage which I wanted them to be moved. I will select this one. I will just select my vMotion here, and I will switch this one to switch as soon as applied. And the storage format, I will just make it clean provisioning. And other than that, I think I will put as everything as it is. Also, if you look at this VM, if you extend here, there is an option. So from which network you want to extend. As you can see, my NSX V network is a web tier logical switch, and as I have extended that using an HCX, it automatically select the extended network here. So it's the L2E web logical tier 0 switch, and that's all. I will just click on go. Once I click on go, it's going to do a validation, which means it's going to check the remote tree and say like, okay, so this one is the error which I'm getting, which is fine, but I can go ahead and I will start my migration. So once I click my migration, it will start migrating the VMs. As you can see, this will start doing the migration from this one to here. So the web VM02 has already migrated to the vCenter 2. And as you can see in my screen currently, it's just setting up the like the storage and everything on the side. But from my vCenter GUI, you can see that it's already migrated here to the data center 2, region B, and everything is IPing and everything is working for me. Like we did see like little bit higher response time, but this is due to the processing and the storage thing is happening here. So that's the reason it's showing you the. And you can see the network here is been currently L2 layer 2 extension with web logical switch. So now as you can see, my web 01 is already migrated to the region B. So now my app DB and web 0 and web 1, all of machines are sitting at data center B. while my routing for all of them is still going with NSX environment here. If I do a trace out to my one of the VMs, just do. So my VM ID is 10.11. If I do a trace out here, you will see that this one is statically will go to the NSX V network. It will be going to the DLR network, which is 192.168.5.2 network. So as you can see, this is 5.2 network. So currently, it is going with NSX V here. This is my NSX V host. And even if I do the same thing for my 20 network, it's still going. Let us look at that. So if we go here, if I click inventory, and if I look at the virtual machine, I will see these are the VM web01, DB01. And if you look, they are currently running here. If I click on the virtual interface here, it will going to show me the virtual interface here, and it will be showing you the switch. So this is the IP address interface. If I close here, if I go to the segment here, and if I look at the all the app segments, I will see that there are two currently port here, and if I click on that port, I will see that this is my web app machine here, and it is up and running. But if I extend that segment, and if I look at my connectivity here, the connectivity is showing off because this one is not connecting to NSX, it is connecting to NSX V network. And same thing if I look at my segment number for web tier, I wanted to make sure that I look at this segment here. So this one is showing connectivity off. If I click on this here, it will show my web 01 VM and web 02 VM. Let's see what is that doing here. Yeah, so now you can see the migration is completed for this both the VM, web 2 VM, web 2 VM. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to unstretch the network. So if you look at my network, I already have my network app and web network already extended to the data center network. So my web logical switch, app logical switch, all of them has been extended to the NSX environment. And currently I'm already in the step 4 here, which means my VM is already migrated, like web NSX web logical switch has a VM1, VM2, app has VM01 and 02. So all of these VM currently are sitting in NSX environment, but all of them are communicating via NSX V8 gateway here. So now I wanted to disconnect this gateway and I want to move all of this gateway to this network. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to select this both networks, AF network and okay, before that I wanted to make sure that my ping is running for all the VM so that at least we can see like what are the impacts when we do the network unstretch. So all of these things. So this one are web, and this is app ping. And I'm going to click on extend network. Okay, once I do one next, I just wanted to make sure that I select this option, so that will migrate my gateway here. So I did this for app, I did this for web. I'm just going to click on extend. So once I click on extend, the HCX is going to unextend this network, which means it's going to move my gateway, this one from NSX V to NSX C, and it's going to decomp this network. So if I do refresh here, it will show you it's working in the background. So as you can see, it's already terminating here, and let me look at my continuous ping is going on. Okay, I did see ping drop, but I just see the 2 ping drop here, as you can see in this factor here. And my network is now moved to the newer NSX network. And now I wanted to show you the trace out. So before the trace, it was the trace out. Let's see what does the trace out look after that. So we saw 2 ping drop, and now you can see this 5.2 NSX hop is no more there. Directly it's going to NSX. And if I go back to the NSX here, and let me close this one, and let me do refresh here, and you can see now that connectivity is now showing on. Which means previously it was showing disconnected, but now it is showing on here. If I look sample for my app switch, it will show that the connectivity is on. So now we have successfully migrated our VM from NSX V to NSX T network,